100% of people, everyone, I think, is one step away from living the lives that they want. And I truly think that what separates people that live the lives that they want and then the people that have to live the lives that they have no choice but to live is diligence. And it really just comes down to how long are you willing to do the thing that God has called you to do. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Mecca, and this channel is called Mecca.mp4, where I come on the internet and help Christian entrepreneurs grow and scale their ideas, all while having Christ in mind, and just giving Christian entrepreneurs new perspective as they build their businesses with Christ in mind as well. As I've been growing in my own businesses, growing on YouTube and all my other business ventures, I've really seen the importance of diligence and being willing to keep going when you aren't yielding results. And I think that's realistically the main reason why most people end up giving up when they start their businesses and different ventures and things. And it's really just a side effect of shiny object syndrome because in 2025, we live in such a microwave society, a consumer economy where people can just pick up one thing and then, a few days later, a few weeks later, even a month later, they can go pick up something else when that one thing isn't working. And I think what truly separates the people that succeed in life and the people that don't succeed in life is how far are you willing to go when you don't know the end, when you can't see the finish line. Because 1,000 people will start, let's say, posting content on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. 80% of those people will realistically never start. 10% of those people will never finish. And then the remaining 10% will either keep going for a certain amount of time and give up when it's hard. And then the last remaining 5%, if that, will actually truly reach success. And because it's really just a matter of how far you're willing to go. A lot of people, they'll, talk about a bunch of different books and all these things, but truly, the Bible is literally the one book you need for everything. Obviously, I'm not opposed to reading other books. I read other books. I love reading other books, but the Bible is the only book you ever need. And there's so many times where it references being diligent, how diligence is the way of the wise and of the rich, and that in all profit or in all toil there's profit. And as long as you keep going in whatever it is, and if it's honoring to God, you will see results in that. And I think a lot more people realistically just need to keep going for a little bit longer. And I think that's what's separating the people that can live the life they want and then separating the people that have to live the life that they have no choice but to live. It really comes down to that in our day-to-day ventures and activities. If we're not being diligent with the things that God has called us to do or the things that God has given us, how can we truly expect to live the life that God has called us to live? And I'm a firm believer that God's design is that for every follower of Christ, every Christian, that we're all supposed to be financially capable. I'm not saying that every Christian's supposed to be rich and they're supposed to have, 15 houses and 15 cars and all this, lavish stuff. But I truly believe that God's design is for every Christian to be free from financial hardship. Realistically, if every person just pursues what God has called them to do in the max capacity and to continue to keep going, to be diligent in that thing, a lot more people would be successful in their own right. They would be able to take care of their families, be able to provide for the needy, to be able to give to their churches and ministries and things like that. If more people were just diligent with the things that they were given, they were better stewards with the things that they were given, a lot more people would be successful. To live the life that we want and the life that God wants for us, we have to truly commit to the things that God has called us to do. And it really comes down to being an overall good steward of the things that you've been given. Because realistically, the business that you have, the ideas in your brain, the body you have, the strength in your bones, it's really none of it is yours. It's all God's. And once you realize that you're a steward of what's given to you, it changes the perspective on what's been given to you. Because let's say the bank, right? If they give you a loan of $70,000, you're not going to treat that loan like it's your $70,000 unless you're, financially irresponsible. You're going to treat that loan of that $70,000 as, okay, I need to be smart with this money because it's truly not my money. And the same applies to everything that God gives us. We need to start treating the things in our lives as things merely just given to us, because we are ultimately just stewards in this life. And the more that we accept that perspective on every area and aspect of our lives, the easier it'll be to work in the way that God has called us to work. And even in my own life, I can say I've started so many things, but I didn't commit to those things. In high school, I started a fintech company. It was like this little crypto thing. It wasn't like fintech, but anyway, I started that. I started a clothing brand in high school. I did sales. I did sales in college. I started another clothing brand in college. I started like this sticker brand I thought was gonna go up. I started so many things. I had a influencer marketing agency, a management agency, an ads agency, so many different things. And I felt like I was super well rounded, and I would say like okay in a lot of areas, but I was never a master in one area. And it wasn't until, I started YouTube and I started really committing to my family company, my home health agency, and started seeing real success in that, that the power of really just focusing on one thing and doing that thing really, really well and continuing in that thing. And it really just comes down to how long you're willing to wait and how long you're willing to last. I know it's super weird, but one of my favorite animals is a vulture. And I know that's super random, but what I love about vultures is that you can never beat a vulture, because a vulture is always going to be willing to outweight whatever it's going up against. And I think that's what makes them one of the most powerful creatures in the animal kingdom. Not by its strength, by its cunning, by anything like that. It realistically comes down to the amount of patience. How long are they willing to wait? How long are they willing to go for the meal that they want to eat? And I think that in a lot of aspects in our own lives, we need to start taking the vulture approach, because if we're willing to wait and continue to do the things that God has called us to do, we can start working and achieving the lives that God wants us to live. And once again, I'm not saying we should all be rich and drive Lamborghinis and all that, artificial things, all those artificial things, but we should all be able to be self sustaining, working with our own hands, living a life that is independent from other people. And I think what's been such a toxic trait in our society is that social media really truly makes it look like that everyone is living their best life and that they're getting all this fast success and quick money. I'm not denying that there are avenues where people can make success and create success really, really quickly, especially with things like crypto and streaming and social media and all these things. But if you want to build something that lasts, if you want to build something that's tangible, it truly takes time. And I don't think we should be hastening to get rich or hastening to reach success, but we should really adopt the mindset of, if we work a little bit harder each and every day, put in a little bit more effort than we did yesterday, be consistent in our work, we can actually truly live the lives that we want to live. And it really just comes down to diligence, really seeing every aspect of our lives truly as just being a steward of it, and that everything is not ours to own, it's not ours to keep, but it's ours to watch over and manage. And I think more people with the right perspective, they can start living the lives that they're truly called to live. And we're truly all one step away from living the lives that God has called us to do, or called us to live. And success is truly not this, overcomplicated, complex thing. It's truly simple. Have a good idea, provide value, and do it for a long time. And over time, you'll find success. Over time, you'll see that your efforts will start bearing fruit. A tree doesn't grow in one singular day. You have to keep watering that tree, put fertilizer on that tree, and it will grow over time. And I think that's how we need to start approaching our businesses, our own lives, and really just being able to wait on the Lord, wait and be diligent and work each and every single day, and to continue to keep working. There's a lot of wisdom that can be taken away from just being more diligent in our lives, being more stewardful, if that's even the right word to say for that. I think there's a lot that can be taken away from doing that. So if you guys like this video, make sure to like, comment, do all that stuff, subscribe. If you are a Christian entrepreneur and you want to grow in your own business, you can actually join our Christian entrepreneur community in the description below. There I do live calls. There's a bunch of video modules on, creating offers and building your business in a way that aligns with Christ, and, overall just scaling and growing your ideas with Christ in mind. And it's absolutely free. It's no longer paid. It's a free community. You can join it, stay forever, stay as long as you like, and we can connect. And you can talk to me and the guys and the girls that are in there as well. So until next time, guys. Peace.